In 1925, there was a world conference in Geneva on children's welfare. That was where the idea of Children's Day was first promoted. So in 1954, the United Nations had a conference and a meeting, and that was when they encouraged all the nations of the world to have a special day that they will use to celebrate children, the welfare of children, education, children's rights, and the children's happiness. Although the United Nations chose November 20th for the World Day of World Children's Day, actually. That's what United Nations chose, November 20th. But of course, they gave room for every other nation to choose their own day. But every nation must have at least one day that children will be celebrated, their rights, their happiness, and their welfare. So that gave rise to every other nation choosing different days. Some nations actually uphold that November 20th, but May 27th was chosen in 1964 in Nigeria. That was before the Civil War. And actually that May 27th was the day that most British colonies used to celebrate there's a British celebration. I can't really remember the right word now, but it was a British celebration that all the British colonies celebrated on that May 27th. But Nigeria, actually, because it was already a public holiday, it was not because they wanted to overshadow the British, but because Nigeria was no longer under British colony. At that time, they already gained independence. So they just said, okay, instead of getting another day and still celebrating the British colony, whatever. So as a way of, still respecting that date, they had to fix Children's Day on May 27th. Not because they wanted to cover history, as some persons promulgate, but just that they just had to make use of that day. You understand? And if they had kept that May 27th as a public holiday to celebrate, it would be as if Nigeria was still under British colony, which we obviously somehow are. But allegedly, oh, thank you. I know you have learned this today. You didn't know it before now. So tell me thank you. You're welcome.